definition, not gonna.
If you love wisdom, put your mind up to the ceiling. Don't let it stay in the gutter. Don't let your heart get all cluttered. No, I did not stutter. Listen to all that I've muttered. Your life will only go well if you in wisdom are lovers.
If you're in love with wisdom, come inside.
Come inside. Come inside.
The truth will surely rescue you and I.
You and I. You and I.
If you're in love with wisdom, come inside.
Come inside. Come inside.
The truth will surely rescue you and I.
All right, good afternoon. This is JC Johnson, and you're listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. All right, on today's episode, in hour one, we're going to be discussing the wisdom of availability. And then in hour two, we are going to continue by discussing the wisdom of versatility. So both these episodes coincide with what we talked about last week, which was opportunity. So I'm pretty sure that you're going to get a lot out of it. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
If you're in love with wisdom, come inside.
Come inside.
Hey, what's going on, Wisdom family? Each week on For the Love of Wisdom, we promote a new and free audiobook that we believe you will benefit from and become wiser by listening to. On today's show, we're talking about the wisdom of availability and versatility. And so, the recommended book for this week is Eyes Wide Open by Isaac Lidsky. This book is about a man who became legally blind, but it was only then that he could actually see clearly. To download this free book today, just visit audibletrial.com/lovewisdom. audibletrial.com/lovewisdom.
All right, welcome back. This is JC Johnson. You're listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. All right, so on today's show, we're actually discussing a couple things. In hour one, we're going to be talking about the wisdom of availability. And then in hour two, we're going to be discussing versatility. All right, so if you've been listening for any length of time, you'll know that each of the show titles kind of have the same theme. Right now, each of the show titles end with the suffix ity, right? And that's just something we're just doing for fun. You know, I like word studies, things like that. I think it helps us to understand words and kind of brings the point home a little bit more. So we'll be doing that probably for the first 50 episodes, and then after that, then we're going to switch it up. Possibly we'll change the prefix, or we may change the suffix. So either way, if you would like to contribute and you have an idea of what we should be doing next, definitely you can hit me up on Twitter. The handle is @LoveWisePodcast. That's @LoveWisePodcast. You can always hit me up there, and anytime you want to join the conversation, you can also communicate with me on there, and you can join in that way. There's also options where you can call in and be a part of the show that way if you are interested in that. Again, hit me up on Twitter and we can set something up. All right, so on last week's show, we discussed the wisdom of opportunity. And so this time we are discussing availability. And I think that the two really go hand in hand, because you can't really take advantage of an opportunity if you don't make yourself available. So the two really go together, and then we're gonna go from there into versatility, because I think that that's also an important part of this whole thing as well. So just if it's your first time listening to the show, just know that the show title comes from the word philosophy. Actually, the word philosophy literally means love of wisdom, right? So it comes from two Greek words, philos, and another one which is Sophia. Philos means love, and if you think about it, it's like the city of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania is considered the city of brotherly love, and the reason why is because that name Philadelphia actually comes from this same root word which means love. And the second part of it, Sophos or Sophia, it means wisdom. So philosophy literally just means love wisdom, and that's what the show is about. It's about loving wisdom. It's about making good decisions, doing the best things that we can in life so that we remain on the right track as much as we possibly can. And the word wisdom, it may not be a word that we use in our everyday language. I mean, hopefully we are using it even if we're not using the word. But the word wisdom actually means the ability to discern inner qualities and relationships, which is basically having insight into those things. It's being able to make sound judgments, right? Not judging people per se, but being able to judge situations, being able to know, what's right, what's wrong, being able to know how you should act in certain situations, the best way to, think of yourself in various situations and others as well. It's really about just being fair, equitable in all things, and ultimately just making sound decisions. All right, so again, as I mentioned last week on the show, we discussed the wisdom of opportunity, and opportunity is an event or moment at which actions of importance or significance can be achieved. All right, and here's a quote from Winston Churchill that stood out to me that I think really drives the point home of what we were talking about last week as well. It says, "The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty." All right, that's Winston Churchill. I thought that was pretty cool. So if you are a pessimistic person, maybe you won't like that. But then again, I don't know. Maybe I'm being pessimistic right now. Maybe you would. Who knows? But that is definitely something that we have to keep in mind. We do need to, if we want to have a life that is fulfilling, that's satisfying, it is best to be more optimistic with things. Now, I'm not saying don't be realistic, because you have to definitely keep it real with yourself and others, but there's nothing wrong with healthy optimism. So that's what we talked about last time. If you missed those episodes, because there was a part 1 and a part 2 of that one, don't worry, you can always listen to past episodes on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, Spotify, pretty much anywhere where you can hear podcasts. And also, if you have an Amazon Alexa enabled device, you can just say, Alexa, play For the Love of Wisdom, and that will actually bring that up. So that way you can, get the show hands-free as well. So if you're in the car or just laying down in the bed or wherever, you can also get that. And again, if you want to join today's conversation, you hit me up on Twitter at LoveWise Podcast, and we can chop it up there. All right, so today we are discussing availability, and before we really get into that, I want to just break down what that word means, because I think it is important to be able to know what we're talking about, right? So the word availability, we can break it down into 2 different words, avail and able, right? So that's where we get available. So what does that mean? Availing, it means to help someone, assist, benefit, be profitable to, be for the advantage of, have force of efficacy, serve for a purpose, right? And it comes here from a root word which literally means be worth, okay, or to be strong. So to be strong, to be worth, basically it's then tied into the next word, able, having sufficient power or means. So if you tie those 2 things together, then we're able to see how basically availing oneself, it could be to help, to assist, to benefit. It's right. So it's something that's beneficial. It's something that's profitable. That's one of the qualifying factors there. But then also it is being able. It's having the power, right? So when we talk about being able, we're talking about potency. We're talking about ability to be able to carry out this help, to carry out this benefit, to carry out being profitable, right? So this was from the online etymology dictionary. It really breaks down a lot of words. I like doing word studies. I like, just looking at, where different stuff comes from, because it really helps you to understand what you're saying, because we say all types of things every day. right? But if you don't know why you're saying what you're saying, it doesn't have as much power. It doesn't have as much meaning. But when you can really, be able to break it down, I think it makes it much more worthwhile. A couple just simpler definitions from Merriam-Webster's dictionary. It says that to be available or availability is present or ready for immediate use, accessible, obtainable, qualified or willing to do something or to assume a responsibility. All right, so ultimately, and then also even just having a beneficial effect. That's what being available is really all about, and that's what we're going to be talking about on today's show. I actually have a couple people hanging out with me here today. Right here to my left, I have.
Hi, Stephanie.
All right, how's it going, Stephanie?
It's great. How are you?
Good. So glad that you could join us today as we are, discussing this topic of availability. Definitely feel free to jump in at any time, share your insights with the people.
Alrighty, I will do so.
All right, so we're getting ready to go to a break, though, but you are listening to North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. And this is JC Johnson for The Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. All right, when we come back, we're going to look at one of the popular stories relating to this topic so that we can just dive more into it. We'll be right back after this.
You're now listening to For the Love of Wisdom on NorthCoastUnderground.com, where the underground starts with who? No other but you.
All right, welcome back. You were listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets, and I'm your host, JC Johnson. And today we are discussing the wisdom of availability, and I have a couple special guests with me. All right, so my next guest is
Eli. Nice to see you. Nice to talk to y'all.
All right, what's going on, Eli?
Nothing much, man. How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. So glad you could join the show today.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, so we're discussing the wisdom of availability, and during the first segment there, we were just pretty much breaking down what that word availability means, right? Because I think that it's important, if we're talking about anything, before we get into it, we need to understand what we're talking about. And people have different perceptions of what a word might mean, so I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page pretty much before we really dig deep into a topic. But just as a recap, just in case you missed it, basically availability it means that something is present or ready for immediate use. It is qualified or willing to do something or to assume a responsibility, right? It's basically something that has a beneficial effect, right? And the first part of that word, avail, it's like being there. It's like being willing to help someone, to assist, to benefit them, to be profitable. But it's not just being there, but it's also being able. And that's where that second part of the word able comes in, because that has to do with power. It's having sufficient power or means to be able to carry out that thing that you are availing yourself to do.
I just wanted to chime in a little bit here. I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons a lot of relationships don't work, because a lot of people just aren't really available to cater to that person and truly be there for them when they need them. So that's why I feel like availability, it's important in so many different ways. Like you saying, helping somebody,
right?
Being available in a relationship, just being able to give your time can help in so many different ways. It doesn't always have to be in a financial type of way. Just being there physically just helps a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so if you're having some problems in your relationship or something, try being available a little bit more. If that's an issue.
That's a good word, man. That's something to remember. So, hey, you heard it here from Eli, man. Make yourself available, right? Because if you're not available, what does that mean? It means that you're somewhere else. You might be physically present, but you may not be mentally available, and that other person is gonna need that if you want your relationship to flourish, right? So, definitely, that's what we're talking about today. One headline that I thought was pretty interesting, and that I think ties into what we're talking about today, actually has to do with JCPenney. And so you may wonder, well, what does JCPenney have to do with what we're talking about when we're talking about availability? Check this out. Here's the headline. It says, did JCPenney find the real opportunity in Toys R Us's demise?
Wow.
Now, if you're not familiar, Toys R Us, Kids R Us went out of business recently. And I don't know about you, but I remember when I was a kid, I used to really like going to Toys R Us. I don't know any kids who don't. It's a great place to go, right? If you're a kid, then you like toys.
Yeah, that's literally the place for kids. It's not
Right.
anything for adults. So it's like that's where you want to be if you're a kid. You're getting something.
Right. So it was difficult for a lot of people when it closed down. But with the way technology is going, how a lot of stuff is online now, we see plenty of stores being closed. Just last year, I believe it was last year, either last year or early this year, the Family Christian bookstores also closed down, and that used to be a huge, chain, of basically a store that sold Bibles and music and all types of stuff. And there's something that a lot of churches use, and just even individual people. And that was something that closed down too, because a lot of that stuff now you can get on Amazon, or really you can just download it for free in a lot of cases on PDF, Kindle, whatever. So technology is changing. So JCPenney, here's what they did. They said, well, this may not be working for Toys R Us, but we are going to capitalize on their absence, right? So here's what they did. They basically said, we are going to make ourselves available. And so here's what they did. It says, the loss of Toys R Us has a lot of retailers angling to grab a piece of the $1.7 billion in annual toy sales it generated, but they may be overlooking where the real money was being made. So it's not necessarily that Toys R Us made all of their money from toys, which is contrary to what a lot of people might think, because it says, although Toys R Us had a 14% share of the U.S. toy market, toy sales actually made up less than 20% of its domestic revenue. So according to this article, 36% of their revenue actually came from Babies R Us, right? And that actually carried the weight of the sales for the company, really, because Babies R Us, Toys R Us, it's all under the same company, or at least it used to be.
So are you saying like JCPenney wants a piece of like the toy money? Like they trying to like create their own type of?
So with Babies R Us, a lot of that is really focused not so much on the toys, but on the clothing.
Okay.
And JCPenney sells clothes.
Okay.
So right now, what they're trying to do is really up their sales on children's clothing.
Okay.
Right. So basically, JCPenney sees an opportunity to capture some of those sales by offering an expanded selection of baby goods and new baby shops that will be featured in 500 stores. All right. So then it says here, importantly, the locations were specifically picked because they were located near Babies R Us stores that had closed. So they did it strategically, right? And so this says this is starting August 30th. The departments will get new signage and graphics.
That's good planning, actually. I like how they executing that.
It is. It's a great business strategy.
Yeah.
It says here, JCPenney will be promoting the launch with a special 12-page catalog. All right. And basically, it is an opportunistic play for JCPenney, much like bringing back appliances after 30 years to take advantage of Sears Holdings' woes. And so that's something else that they did too. If you're familiar with Sears, Sears has had some issues as well, but JCPenney was able to say, well, what is it that made Sears successful? Let's try to do that ourselves, but maybe do it better. And they did that by selling appliances, getting back into that part of the business, which they had kind of veered away from before. So really, again, as this relates to availability, JCPenney made themselves available. And they did that through study. They didn't just randomly say, well, okay, let's start selling toys at JCPenney. They said, well, let's really look at where the majority of Toys R Us's money came from. And they were able to see it came from baby products. It came from, clothing and probably, bottles and teething rings and all types of stuff like that. So now they are upping that part of their product list, so that they can bring in some of those old Toys R Us and Babies R Us customers. Very smart move. Very smart. So it's a great business strategy. If you are in business or you're looking to get into it, that's how you have to think. You have to think sometimes, I wouldn't even say out the box. I think that's just common sense. Yeah. But it's something that not everyone else is going to do. So
you got to be available for opportunity as well.
Right.
So if you always being busy and somebody tells you, hey, check this out, look at these numbers, you know what I'm saying, this might sound good, make sure you just don't brush somebody off, you know what I'm saying. You have to be available to make certain things happen.
Exactly. So we are getting ready to go to a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We will be right back. You're listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets, and I'm your host, JC Johnson. And when we come back, we're going to continue the discussion on availability. Right, you are listening to North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with who? It starts with you. All right, we'll be right back.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Queen Z from the Queen Z Show, and you are listening to For the Love of Wisdom.
All right, what's going on? Welcome back. You're listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And we're on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. All right, hanging out with me today, got a couple special guests, Eli and Stephanie. So what's going on, Stephanie?
Hi, how are you?
Good. So, we're discussing the wisdom of availability, and this is a continuation from last week. Last week we talked about the wisdom of opportunity. Right, and both are really important, because it's one thing to want to take advantage of an opportunity, right? But it's another thing to make yourself available for that opportunity, right? And that's really important. And this is also going to tie into what we're going to discuss on the next hour, which is the wisdom of versatility. Because even if you recognize an opportunity, you make yourself available for that opportunity. If you don't understand versatility, you still may not be successful within that. So that's what we're going to talk about next hour. But we're going to continue now talking about availability. The book for this week, every week, there's a book that I recommend that people check out. And if you're like me and you don't have a lot of time to sit down and read a book, I really like to read audiobooks or listen to audiobooks, right? Because that's something I can listen to when I'm in the car. Or I can just plug my headphones in and I can listen to it while I'm wherever, at the gym, or just taking a walk outside, whatever, and it's a great way to get the same information into you, without actually having to sit down and flip through the pages. So the book that I'm recommending for this week is called Eyes Wide Open. All right, and the subtitle, Overcoming Obstacles and Recognizing Opportunities in a World That Can't See Clearly. And the author of this book is Isaac Lidsky, and he's got a pretty interesting story here. Definitely check it out. Through the show, you can actually download this book for free. So just go on Audible, go to www.audibletrial.com/lovewisdom, and you'll be able to download this book for free. All right, so here's some quotes from the book that really stood out to me. All right, here's the first one. He said, "In the face of great challenges, you can choose to live reactively as a victim, or choose to proactively take control with awareness and accountability." All right, so Stephanie, what do you think about this? Like he's saying here, when you're facing a challenge, you can either react to it as a victim, or you can choose to be proactive and take control.
I agree. I totally agree. It kind of depends on, everyone has different reactors and react to different things differently, but, you can either just grab it and actually, turn lemon into lemonade, or you can play the victim and just sit around and be sad about what's going on and then just wait for it to get worse
Right.
and worse.
And you don't want to do
instead of
that.
grabbing it and fixing it or figuring whatever it is that needs to be figured out.
So why do you think people do that? Why do people just, sit back and try to let situations work out for themselves without actually doing something?
When I think about why people do the things that they do, I always think about, nature versus nurture,
Okay.
for one. And then I just always think about, just how that personality in general just is in situations overall. So it's just kind of like, it's hard. If I know someone, I can be like, oh, okay, I know why you're doing this stuff. If I don't, it's like, they're like a puzzle to me, and I have to, like, figure this personality out before I really flip.
Okay. So you like to figure people out?
Yeah. I don't want to say I like to figure them out. Like, that's not my objective when I meet someone. I'm not like, how are you? But I definitely, like, if I'm going to be around you, I definitely have to figure you out. I have to, like, know you're thorough. I'm not going to just be around you just, because you got a nice smile or something.
Right. But it's really important to understand that, in life things happen, right? But
Of course.
we have an option. We can either say, well, I'm going to be a victim, and I'm going to say, oh, woe is me. Oh, I can't believe this happened to me. Oh, no one likes me, or, no one's giving me a chance. Yeah.
Some people do love to throw their own pity parties.
Yeah, and pity parties, I've been to a couple. They're not fun.
They're no fun. They're no fun.
They don't
I'll
even-
give you like one. After the one, I'm like, nah, bro, we gotta get it together. What's the problem?
Right.
Okay, let's address this.
And it's one thing to grieve, to be upset about something, but at some point, you have to say, all right, I need to now do something. I can't just stay in this state of despair forever, right?
Correct.
And here's another quote from the book that stood out that I thought was pretty cool. He said, "What you don't know can't hurt you, but what you think you know certainly can." And what he was talking about there is basically how your perception, oftentimes, if it's incorrect, it can actually make things worse for you. So what's even worse than that is not knowing that you are seeing things incorrect.
Incorrect assumptions.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And
Make a what out of yourself?
you said what?
So what do you make out of yourself?
You make a fool out of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So, because one thing he says here, speaking of making the fool out of yourself, he says, how often do you miscommunicate with someone because you are making faulty assumptions about his motives or meaning? Right? Like, have you ever been in that situation?
Oh yes. I'm a woman. I would not be truthful if I sat here and like, no.
Okay, so what does that mean? You're saying you're a woman, so what do you mean by that?
Because my mind first goes to like something a man has told me, and I'm like, oh, you're a liar. Da-da-da-da-da. And then it like turns out he was like actually being honest, and you feel like, oh my god, you're not actually like the average guy. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So what's an example of that?
An example?
Yeah.
We're gonna personal.
Yeah, something that's not going to get you in trouble. What's?
I mean, can't nothing get me in trouble. But I was dating a guy once, and I rode. This might sound a little crazy, but whatever. I rode past his house, and his ex-girlfriend car was out there. And so, where my mind automatically went, and it turned out his cousin, because they're all like kind of really weirdly close.
Yeah.
Like actually had drove the car over there, and I didn't know until I actually had gotten into the house.
So she wasn't even there.
The house, no, she wasn't there.
You said
And I was
bursted
like,
into the house. Kind of bursted into.
Yeah, kind. I mean, I had a key, so it wasn't like I just like kicked the door down.
Right.
I would have if I had to. I would have broken
Like
the
the
window
SWAT
or
team,
something.
you just coming in there like, hey, where is she? Huh? Where is who?
I was like, she probably ran out the back.
But hey, I mean, that's understandable, right? You see this car, you know whose car it is, right? I'm like, I don't think this is a coincidence. So, yeah, of course, your mind might go there, right? So, but one thing that he talks about in this book is how your eyes are not what sees things. It's actually your mind that sees things, because your eye is taking in lots of different information, but it's your mind that's
selective.
telling your eyes what to see. basically. So if you see a fruit hanging on a tree, you know, one person sees that and says, oh, that's a snack. Another person who maybe was poisoned after eating some fruit off a tree one time, they look at that and they see, this is death, this is danger, you know. So depending on what's going on in your mind, it can really change the way that you view the world. And so
perceptions are very, very important. It may be different for everyone.
Yeah, and that's why I really like this book, because he really goes into that. And this guy, he actually was blind. He became blind. He wasn't born blind, but he became blind, I believe, when he was like in his late teens, and during the time he was in college. And so he talks about how he didn't even know that he was gonna be blind, but really, and in losing his eyesight, he was able to actually understand more. He was able to really perceive things more, because you know your other senses become heightened when you lose one, right? So if you lose your hearing, your sense of smell is heightened, or your sense of, you know, sight or whatever. But more on that after this. You're listening to North Coast Underground, but the Underground starts with you.
This is your girl, Juicy Jazzo, and I wanted to let you know I'm all about wisdom. Knowledge is power, power is money, and money makes the world go round. And you're listening to For the Love of Wisdom right now, bleeding out your speakers.
All right, welcome back. You're on North Coast Underground, where the Underground starts with you. And this is your host, JC Johnson, For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And I'm here today with Stephanie. So what's going on, Stephanie?
Nothing much. Just enjoying my time here.
Cool. So glad that you could stop by today. Before the break, you were telling the story about assumptions, right?
Yes.
Assuming people's motives, and how sometimes we can get it wrong.
Yes, we make fools of ourselves.
So today, what we're talking about is the wisdom of availability. And before the break, we were discussing the book of the week, which is Eyes Wide Open, and it's a book by Isaac Lidsky, and it's really just about overcoming obstacles and recognizing opportunities in a world that can't see clearly, and really just making yourself available for opportunities. It really ties into what we're talking about today. So I would definitely recommend checking that book out. You can get it for a free download through Audible. Actually, through the show, we have a partnership with Audible, so any For the Love of Wisdom listeners can download this book for free. Just go to audibletrial.com/lovewisdom, and you'll be able to check it out there. It's a good read, or a good listen, I should say. All right, so let's take a look at a couple quotes from some notable people as it relates to this topic. All right, here's one from Israelmore. All right, and I'm not gonna attempt to say the last name, but this is a good one here. A couple from him. All right, here's the first one. Your ability will not help if you do not give your availability. All right, and that's a good one too, and that kind of ties into what we were talking about there. So Stephanie, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like that, where you are able to do something, but it doesn't happen because you didn't make yourself available for that.
Yeah, I have a very simple story about that.
Okay.
I wanted to twirl in high school, but I didn't want to quit McDonald's. And I was like, do I want shoe money, or do I want to be in the band? And I just was like, I really want to be in the band, but not as much as I want money. But like, honestly, like looking back, sometimes I do regret that, and just not taking that time to be a kid and like enjoy those experiences. Right.
Yeah, I mean, in high school, you have so much stuff there. I remember taking a television production class, right? And I really. What high school you go to? Well, this is a high school in Maryland, so I don't know if it's different, but yeah.
Yeah, we ain't in the public system ain't like that. My teacher was on strike my whole senior year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, one thing there, I took that class, and I was excited about it. I think this was when I was in either 10th or 11th grade. But the thing was, me and the teacher didn't get along too well. I didn't really listen that well either, and I would, talk during class and do stuff I wasn't supposed to do. So in a sense, I was able to do the work. It was something that I knew I enjoyed, but I didn't make myself available by following the directions. So one day the teacher got tired of it. He took me down to the principal's office and demanded that I be removed from the class. So now some years later, now I'm in a school where I'm studying basically the same thing, radio, television, broadcasting. And so I got a little head start back then with that, but I wasn't able to finish the class, for not following directions. But things happen like that, right? And when you're young, those type of things happen, and you learn. Like you were looking at McDonald's, even though you weren't necessarily trying to climb up the ladder at McDonald's and and retire there and all that. But at that time, that was what was most important to you. What was most important is I don't want to take off because I need the shoe money, right? But hey, you got to make yourself available if you want to take advantage of great opportunities. Here's another quote. This one is from a guy named Saji, and he said, "If you are capable but not available, nature will raise a person with lesser ability to replace you soon." And that's a sobering thought when you think about it. And you think like, oh, but I can do this like better than this person. Yet this person is the one that has the opportunity now because I didn't take advantage of it. That happens every day. So you may wonder. You may be a musician. You listen to the radio and like, man, music today sucks. Like, I can't believe this person made it. Why is this person out there and not me? Well, the reason is because that person went for it, but you didn't, right? So if you don't go for it, then what do you expect them to do? Come to your house and knock on your door and be like, hey, we need you to be on the radio because we need your music because the music that we're playing just isn't as good as yours, right? It's not gonna happen. Maybe it could happen, right? What are the odds of that? I don't know. It's pretty low, right? Anything's possible, but the people who actually go for it, the people who make themselves available, those are the ones who you're gonna be seeing. Those are the ones you're gonna be hearing. That's just the way it works. Here's another quote from the first guy, Israelmore. He says, "God doesn't begin by asking our ability, but more of our availability. When we prove our dependability, that's when he will increase our capability." And that's pretty good right there. He's got that's a lot of ables and abilities, and but let's take a look at that. So
I feel like we gotta break that one line.
Yeah.
That one's like...
You might feel like you are not able to perform a particular task, right? But if you make yourself available at least to do that, even if you're not able, then within that, he's saying, God can actually give you the ability over time. But what he wants to see is, are you willing and are you dependable? If you are, if you have dependability, then he can increase your capability. And I think that's some pretty good insight there. Definitely something to keep in mind. We're gonna have more though when we come back. You're listening to For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets, and you are listening on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. So in the next hour, we are gonna continue the conversation discussing the wisdom of versatility. All right, we'll be right back.
Knowledge is power, power is money, and money makes the world go round.
Money, power, respect, I get it. Higher learning, yeah, I'm with it. Only get better with time, keep God on my mind with wisdom. There's no limit, there's no limit. Get up and get it, can achieve the impossible, conquer every obstacle. Exhausted from grinding, constantly pushing, do what they say I could. Life is what you make it. Knowledge is power, don't let them take it. Ignore it.